Are you ready to go live?
Yeah, just coming as soon as I sit down. Can you now? You did it!
Oh,
This time.
I did it this time. Hello, we're live today, and we haven't been live for such a long time.
This over here.
Chats are open, and what are we talking about today? Exclusion through exclusion and inclusion. What? What's that mean to you? What the hell?
What the hell?
What the hell?
Yeah, just some conversations of late. It came up where, talking about exclusion, but then people feeling excluded. So you want to include everyone.
Yep.
But people still feel excluded.
Give me an example.
Let's say for particular communities.
Oh.
So you've got, a community, for example, has their vision and mission, and this is who they help, and they want to include and still include everyone. However, they'll go into a community, and then it's like, well, hang on, no, this can't help me. And so communities that still want to include people, they go there, and it's not what they thought.
Now that you mention this, right? There's so many communities out there, and there's so many great communities, and so many great people inside these communities. What I have witnessed, because I've gone out to so many different communities around the nation, and you've done that with me. We've gone from community to community, even throughout Sydney, and through even Byron Bay, up Gold Coast, and down the coast, whichever communities we go to, there seems to be these little pocket of people that stick together, and like they want to try and include people, like what you mentioned, but people feel excluded because they're having their own conversations, and they don't include them. So I see what you mean. There's the they want to include people into many different conversations, but they feel excluded, because I've spoken to some people who have gone to some communities where there's many different opinions about many different communities, and some people feel excluded, as what you mentioned. They feel excluded because they stay in these little groups and they don't really include people, but they do want to invite people. They want people to come. But they don't make people feel like they're part of it.
And it's not always a bad thing too, because there's so many varieties of personalities, experiences people have been through, that called G'day Maggie Bolton.
Called cliches because they take ownership.
Because they take ownership. Well, Maggie. I mean, it was.
How's it going, Maggie?
You know, with the whole, and that's one of the things that we've been connecting with communities, is it's not everyone we can help directly, but it's more, who can we also connect with, or who can we connect them with?
And seeing that there's this 6 degrees of separation, and I don't think it's 6 degrees of separation anymore, because there's 8 billion people on the planet, and we seem to know a lot more people because of social media. So I think that's a lot less than 6 degrees of separation. There's a lot less unless you're an introvert, then that might still apply to you because you'll still know that one person that will know it's 6 down the line that would know someone that could help you. The problem with that is people don't want to be helped, or they don't feel like, oh, I'm here, poor little me. I don't want to be helped. That's me included. Like, I've been in that situation where, oh, I don't want to be helped, and in the end you go, oh, I do need the help. And where is that line? How do we make people feel included? By welcoming, like like a lot of tribes back in the past, there's a big welcoming committee around the edges of whatever tribe, and they'll welcome people in. Now that if we can bring that back in, we could change the world. We can make people feel welcome. There's a lot of people who feel that toxicity is the correct thing, and being toxic about how they speak, what they do, how they. But it's a learnt behavior. They've learnt it from someone else, and is that the right thing? Again, there's another line there, right? There's so many lines to cross here.
But maybe what Maggie goes to with on speaking of ownership, because that when we own something, like it feels good.
It does feel good.
And I guess you feel in control.
There's still that tribe mentality as well, right? The tribe mentality was to not allow too many people in. And there's a limitation to how many people you could ever have in your first and foremost circle, then people around that circle. So there's the rule of 120 people per community, and if you can limit the communities to 120 people, you can still manage to lead them. And this was through a couple of different things. It's a well-known part about tribes in the past that they had to separate as soon as they hit 120. What they did was they split the tribes from they split it in half and would start and separate, because you cannot have more than 120 people. There's going to be too many cooks in the kitchen, as per se. So there's got to be that rule, because of just the way that we think, the way that we get overwhelmed, the way we feel, or what we have surrounding us. How do we? Yeah.
That's what it was. It's just that everyone's talking about inclusion, but then you've got this. There's still friction there, and then how do we handle that and still help people?
How about schools? They're fairly large, that I remember when we sent our kids to the school, there were at least 240. Now there's 300, and the community is becoming larger and larger. Of course, if that's 300, that's at least 2 parents per child. We're looking at around 1,000 people gathering at one time if there was a community event. Could you imagine all the other schools that have 400, 600 people? And not everyone's going to like everyone, and that's okay. Be okay with that. Everyone should be okay with that. Inclusion. through exclusion. Feeling included.
That was the thought. That was my
You're
thought of today.
excluded. Feeling included, yet you're excluded. There are so many people I've seen in groups as well. Like, that I've had to open a circle. I've had to open a circle and welcome them in and start the conversation and move the conversation across to them, because other people were dominating the conversations. And you know how you jump into a circle and there's this one person that just talks about themselves, and they don't really ask questions. They just talk about themselves, which is fine, right? There's this fine line between them. But if you're dominating conversation, not including someone, is that inclusion through exclusion? Like when you have these circles, remember those? Remember back in teenage years, and did you know these school dances? Do you remember those school dances where everyone would have circles? And were
Like
you the one that had circles?
mini mosh pits.
Mosh pits, but like school dances, and then there's always like circles. You see these circles everywhere.
Different groups.
And I recall every time we had these conversations, you would know one in each group, right? You'd be jumping from circle to circle saying hi to everyone. I would be doing the same thing, and it's like there's groups of people around then where you've got the emos, you've got the people who love heavy metal, people that would probably love like rap, hip hop, R&B. You'll have the happy-go-lucky people, and you'll have like the nerd group. So it sort of comes back. It comes back to this. It comes back to this mentality and ego. No, ego. It goes back to ego. It comes back to ego. If you think about it, exclusion. Oh, what? What's it? Exclusion through inclusion comes back to ego. Are you thinking about it?
Well, yeah, most probably. But the other thing, as you were talking there, was different stages. We're at different stages of our lives as well, and different experiences. So you're going to be going to different groups at different times, because you're going to find people that have shared experiences, shared knowledge, shared stories. And that was actually, that's something I was reading just before, was that stories was a good way of inclusion. Telling a story. So like when we went up to Byron Bay, I mean, we're already open-minded about everything, but just hearing the story, you could be a little bit more connected to what was going on. Or I don't know what it is, but there was, through stories, we've got, maybe we can understand a little bit better.
I also think it's about leadership. It comes down to leadership. If the people at the top have not flagged anything about it, or have not sort of come up with ideas to make people feel included, then we're going to have these little pocket of groups, and division. It even comes down to division. People feel divided. Divide and conquer. It's sort of like when we go to some of the network, we go and split, divide and conquer, and go, oh, did you get a chance to speak to this person? But isn't that the different thing, right? When you go in, you come in with a bit more energy, and you speak to many different people. And there's so many exciting people out there that we just go out because we're extroverted. We want to talk and want to chat and want to know who they are, what they're all about. Then there's people who are the total opposites, who don't want to feel like they feel that they need to go out there, but they cannot fathom the energy to even speak or talk about themselves. And I've been at that point too, where I don't feel like talking, so it's sort of like I'll talk a little bit and then sort of move it across. Hey, they're jumping in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hey, Amanda.
Oh, here we go. So it's late here, and I won't sound too intelligent.
Appreciate what you two are saying. Thanks, Amanda.
Oh, thanks, Amanda. Thanks for jumping in. So
yeah, these are just conversations that we're either having or we have ourselves, and just wanting to put it out there. And if anyone else wants to engage in them and throw their thoughts into the mix.
Just normally like our coffee chats. So my coffee's finished. Normally signals when we sort of move on, but it's quite interesting. Just being observant of people and how they interact with one another in many groups. And we'd run events. We'd run many different events where they feel like they need to get out there. And the most important part for people at these events is what you mentioned before was to connect. And we still have that. That's why it's one of our principles, right? How we started was connect, collaborate, and community. And we established that if we can connect and collaborate with the community, we can work with everyone around us. And I think that's where we need to sort of go back. We need to come back to the local area and come back to our connect, collaborating with the communities and develop some of the communities around us and surrounding a lot of the different partners that we've added into the mix. The other things as well as a co-op with collaboration opportunities, relationships and events. It's another thing that we could sort of bring back into it. We need to start teaching them the principles to help better understand and give them a guideline of what really works. Because we come to understand that these are the main principles that make business work, right? If you're not out there collaborating or connecting with someone, you're not going to be building opportunities or learning any new opportunities out there. Because what you need as a business is different opportunities. And you can only get opportunities by promoting yourself and getting yourself out there. And the most important part that we've always known was relationships. So we need to get back out there and even just teach our principles and build something around that and start telling people. And that's how we can get people away from feeling like they need to be in these bubbles.
I think the other thing is we're still learning.
We're constantly.
It's still learning as well, because while you got those principles, it's still like even these coffee chats still working everything out.
We're constantly learning. If you're not learning, then what else is there left to do? We have to learn.
Play games.
We have to make mistakes. Even when you play games, depending on what game you might lose something, right? And go, oh damn, I shouldn't have done that. Next time you have to sort of, I've learned that lesson. I shouldn't do that again.
then you repeat it and you're like, damn it.
Yeah, damn it.
Should have listened to my intuition. No, this time will be different. Or use the same tactic, but different. Damn it. Wasn't. Knew it. Still. Tried it again.
And learning process again. You learn it again. Anyway.
All right. So before we go, I'm going to. I want to share. I'm going to share something. Here we go. Share screen. And. All right. Here we go. Bring this in. So, has anyone had that where just minding your own business? Out of nowhere, bang. Bit of a reality check.
All the time.
Anyway, that was just...
It happens all the time.
I don't know what it was, but just sharing a clip. Yeah. Anyway. Moving right along. Saw it the other day. I thought, oh man, that's tough going.
So is that like that person being excluded? Come on down! Bang! Get out of here!
There you go. So think yourself lucky that we're here able to have a chat and have a coffee.
Don't beat a horse.
Someone's getting beat up by a horse.
Was that an ass? Don't beat the ass.
It could have well been.
Okay.
All right.
Tomorrow.
Thanks, Maggie. Thanks, Amanda. Tomorrow, Gary Martin.
Gary Martin.
Round two.
Round two
with Gary Martin.
4 p.m. tomorrow. Gary Martin.
But our line checks are looking a lot better than they were last time. So
okay,
we should have a conversation.
All right. Until next time.
See you.